Dr. Maria Santos was drinking coffee when the first explosion shook Kepler Station. The cup fell from her hands and broke on the metal floor. Coffee spread across her boots as red lights began flashing everywhere. "All hands to emergency stations," came the voice over the speakers. It was Captain Torres, but Maria could hear fear in his voice. She had never heard him scared before. Maria ran down the corridor toward the lab where her friend Zektar worked. Zektar was a veteran, one of the peaceful aliens who had become humanity's first friends among the stars. His people were brilliant scientists with blue skin and 4 arms. They looked fragile, but they were incredibly smart. The station shook again. This time, Maria fell against the wall. Through the windows, she could see massive ships surrounding Kepler Station. They were dark and angular, covered in weapons. She had never seen ships like these before. "Zektar!" Maria shouted as she reached the lab. Her friend was at his computer, his 4 hands moving quickly across multiple keyboards. His large eyes were wide with terror. "Maria, you must leave," Zektar said without looking up. "These are hegemony ships. They are here to kill us all." Maria had heard stories about the hegemony. They were a group of old alien races who ruled much of the galaxy. They thought they were better than everyone else. They did not like humans or the friendships humans had made with other species. "We can escape together," Maria said. "The evacuation pods." "No." Zektar's voice was sad but firm. "They will destroy any ship that tries to leave. I'm sending a message to Earth. Someone must warn your people." The station shook so hard that equipment fell from the tables. Sparks flew from damaged electronics. The lights went out for a moment, then came back on, dimmer than before. "Attention Kepler Station," came a cold voice over the communication system. The voice spoke perfect English, but it sounded wrong. Too many teeth in the mouth. "This is General Thegmer of the Hegemony Second Fleet. You have 30 seconds to surrender all humans on this station." Zektar looked at Maria with his large, sad eyes. "You must hide. Now." "I won't leave you," Maria said. "You must. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them the hegemony shows no mercy." Before Maria could argue, Zektar pushed a button on his desk. A hidden panel opened in the wall. "Emergency shelter. It will hide you from their sensors." The station shook again. This time, Maria heard metal tearing. The hull was being cut open. "Time is up," said the cold voice. "We are coming aboard." Maria heard the sound of boots in the corridors, heavy boots. Many of them, and other sounds. Sounds she did not want to think about. "Go," Zektar whispered. He pushed Maria toward the hidden panel. "Remember us. Remember what they do here today." Maria climbed into the small space behind the wall. Zektar closed the panel just as the lab door exploded inward. Through a tiny crack, Maria could see into the lab. Alien soldiers poured in. They were tall and wore black armor. Their faces were hidden behind masks, but she could see glowing red eyes. "Where are the humans?" one soldier demanded. Its voice was like grinding metal. "There are no humans here," Zektar said. He stood straight, trying to look brave even though his hands were shaking. The soldier raised a weapon. It looked like a rifle, but made of crystal and metal. Energy hummed. Inside it, "We know humans work on this station. We have their records." "I work alone," Zektar lied. The soldier pointed the weapon at Zektar's head. "Last chance." Zektar looked directly at the soldier. "I told you, no humans." The energy weapon fired. There was a bright flash and a sound like thunder. When Maria could see again, her friend was gone. Just ... gone. Nothing left but burn marks on the floor. Maria put her hand over her mouth to stop herself from screaming. Tears ran down her face. She watched as the soldiers destroyed everything. In the lab, they were looking for any sign of human presence. Over the next hour, Maria heard terrible sounds from all over the station. Screams, weapons firing, metal being torn apart. The hegemony soldiers were hunting down every human on Kepler Station. Through the station's communication system, she heard Captain Torres trying to surrender. He offered to give up all human personnel if the hegemony would spare the veteran civilians. "No deals," came General Thegmer's cold reply. "The Vethrans chose to work with humans. They share your fate." Maria heard Captain Torres curse in Spanish. Then she heard more weapons fire. The killing went on for 3 hours. Maria stayed hidden in the tiny space, listening to her friends and colleagues die. She heard Dr. Kim begging for mercy in the medical bay. She heard Engineer Walsh trying to bargain with his tools and technical knowledge. She heard the young intern Jake crying for his mother. The hegemony soldiers showed no mercy to anyone. Finally, the station grew quiet. Too quiet, Maria waited. Another hour before she dared to move. When she finally opened the panel, the lab was dark. Emergency lighting cast red shadows on the walls. Maria crept through the corridors of Kepler Station. Bodies lay everywhere, humans and veterans alike. The hegemony had killed them all. Men, women, scientists, engineers, cooks, janitors, everyone. She made her way to the communication center. Most of the equipment was destroyed, but she found one working console. Her hands shook as she recorded a message. "This is Dr. Maria. Santos on Kepler Station. The hegemony attacked us without warning. They killed everyone. All the humans. All the veterans, too. They showed no mercy. They wouldn't even accept surrender." Maria's voice broke. She wiped tears from her eyes and continued. "They said the Vethrans deserve to die for working with humans. They're sending a message. Anyone who helps humanity will be destroyed. The hegemony isn't just declaring war on us. They're declaring war on anyone who stands with us." She sent the message toward Earth and hoped someone would receive it. Then she found an emergency pod that the hegemony had missed. As she prepared to launch, she looked back at Kepler Station one last time. The station that had been a symbol of friendship between species was now a tomb. Hundreds of good people, human and alien alike, were dead, all because they had dared to work together. Maria launched the pod and began the long journey home. Behind her, the hegemony ships finished their work. They destroyed Kepler Station completely, erasing any evidence of the massacre. But they had made one mistake. They had let one witness escape. As Maria's pod flew through space toward Earth, her message traveled faster than light through the communication networks. Soon, Admiral Sarah Chun would receive the terrible news. Soon, Earth would learn that their peaceful exploration of the galaxy was over. The hegemony thought they had sent a clear message. They thought they had broken humanity's spirit by killing their friends. They were wrong. They had just awakened something far more dangerous than they could imagine. General Thegmer stood before the Great War. Table on Hegemony Prime. A massive room was filled with the leaders of a dozen alien races, all part of the ancient coalition that ruled most of the galaxy. Holographic displays showed star maps, fleet positions, and battle plans. "The humans have been taught their place," Thegmer announced. His voice echoed in the chamber. Around the table, various alien heads nodded in approval. Some had multiple eyes, others had tentacles instead of arms, but all showed satisfaction. "Kepler Station has been eliminated," Thegmer continued. "Every human and their Vethran allies are dead. The message is clear. Anyone who stands with Earth will be destroyed." High Commander Veltar, leader of the Zephyrian Empire, leaned forward. Her purple skin glowed with pleasure. How did the humans react to losing their precious research station? As expected, Thecna replied. They sent angry messages demanding explanations. They threatened consequences. But their fleets are already pulling back from contested systems. They know they cannot match our power. War Master Grix of the Saurian clans laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. Humans are like all young races. They talk big until they face real strength. They will surrender soon enough. Thecmer activated the holographic display. It showed detailed files on human military tactics, charts, graphs, and battle recordings from dozens of conflicts. We have studied Earth's military for 50 years, Thecmer explained. They fight like most civilized species. Fleet engagements in open space, orbital bombardments of enemy worlds, ground assaults with heavy machinery. Their tactics are predictable. The display showed human warships in formation. They moved in straight lines, firing massive weapons at enemy fleets. It looked impressive but simple. They rely on superior firepower and better technology, Thecmer continued. But we have been fighting wars for thousands of years, before humans even invented spaceflight. We know how to counter every strategy they possess. Admiral Kethver of the Crystalline Collective nodded his diamond-shaped head. Their largest fleet has only 3,000 ships. We have 10 times that number. This will be over quickly. What about their allies? Asked Veltar. Other species might support them. Thecmer smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Already taken care of? After news of Kepler Station spread, most species have cut ties with humanity. The Centauran Republic issued a statement distancing themselves from Earth. The Outer Rim, Confederation, has closed their borders to human ships. Even the peaceful Vethran's home government has refused to send help to their own colonies. Fear is a wonderful teacher, said Grix with satisfaction. The display changed to show strategic positions throughout the galaxy. Red markers indicated hegemony fleets. Blue markers showed human positions. The humans looked very small and scattered. Phase 2 begins immediately, Thecmer announced. We will attack human colonies one by one. Each victory will weaken their resolve. When they see their people dying, they will beg for peace on our terms. What terms will we offer? Asked Kethver. Complete withdrawal from all contested systems. Return of any alien technology they have acquired. And annual tribute. Payments for the next century. Thecmer's eyes glowed red with pleasure. They will become our servants, working to build ships and weapons for the hegemony. The alien leaders murmured approval. This was how the galaxy worked. Strong species ruled. Weak species served. It had been this way for millennia. What of Earth itself? Asked Veltar. We will leave their homeworld untouched, as long as they obey, Thecmer replied. A broken species is more useful than a dead one. They can mine asteroids and build machinery for us. Their scientists can work in our laboratories under proper supervision. The war masters and admirals began discussing fleet assignments. The Zephyrian Empire would take the northern systems. The Saurian clans would attack from the west. The Crystalline Collective would secure supply lines. It was a coordinated campaign designed to crush human resistance quickly. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Sarah Chun received the first reports from Kepler Station. She sat in her office deep beneath the Pacific. Fleet headquarters, reading Maria Santos's message for the 10th time. Her staff officers stood around her desk, waiting for orders. Ma'am, said Commander Wright, her aide, the Joint Chiefs are asking for our response. The media is demanding a statement. 3 more colonies have requested immediate evacuation. Chun said nothing. She stared at the message on her screen. Good people were dead. Friends were dead. The Vethrans who had trusted humanity were dead. Admiral? Wright prompted gently. Chun looked up. Her eyes were cold as winter ice. Send the message to all fleet commanders. Full recall. Every ship, every soldier, every asset. I want them all back in Sol System within 2 weeks. Ma'am? That will leave our colonies defenseless. Do it. Chun's voice was flat and dangerous. Also, I want a secure line to General Morrison at Special Operations Command and contact Director Hayes at Intelligence. Wright hesitated. Should I inform the other admirals of our strategy? What strategy? Chun asked. She stood and walked to the window overlooking the ocean. The hegemony thinks they know how humans fight. They've studied our tactics. They've watched our fleet exercises. They think they understand warfare. She turned back to her staff. Her smile was thin and sharp. They're about to learn that everything they know about human military doctrine comes from the last 50 years. The civilized years. The years after we met aliens and tried to act like proper galactic citizens. Chun walked to her wall safe and entered a long code. Inside were files marked with warnings in multiple languages. She pulled out a thick folder, labeled Historical Precedents, Earth Conflicts 1900 to 2100. Commander Wright, I want you to contact Colonel Martinez in the archives. Tell him to unseal the pre-contact military records. All of them. I want everything from guerrilla warfare to psychological operations to asymmetric tactics. Wright looked confused. Ma'am, those records are sealed for good reason. Some of those tactics were considered war crimes, even by Earth standards. Chun opened the folder and spread photos across her desk. Images of humans in strange uniforms, carrying primitive weapons, hiding in forests and cities. Faces painted with mud and determination. The hegemony just killed civilians, Chun said quietly. They murdered scientists and researchers in cold blood. They executed people who were trying to surrender. She looked up at Wright. They want to see what humans are really like when we stop being civilized. Fine, let's show them. She picked up one of the photos. It showed soldiers moving through a jungle, faces hidden by paint and shadow. They think they know human tactics because they've seen our space battles. They've never seen what we did before we had space battles. They've never seen what we're capable of when we're not trying to impress alien allies. Chun set the photo down and looked at her staff. The hegemony has been fighting wars for thousands of years, but they've been fighting civilized wars. Honor codes, rules of engagement, predictable tactics between organized militaries. She smiled again, and it made several officers step back. We learned warfare in a different school. We learned it when winning meant survival and losing meant extinction. We learned it when there were no rules except kill the enemy before they kill you. Chun pressed the intercom button. Get me a secure connection to the Pentagon's Historical Warfare Division. It's time to dust off some very old playbooks. As her staff scrambled to carry out orders, Chun stared at the photos spread across her desk. Images of humanity's bloodiest conflicts. Wars fought with desperate cunning instead of overwhelming force. Victories won through deception, surprise, and the willingness to do whatever it took to protect home and family. The hegemony thought they had awakened fear in humanity. They had no idea what they had actually awakened. Captain Rex Morrison crouched in the maintenance shaft of the hegemony supply ship Eternal Glory. He had been hiding there for 6 hours, waiting for the right moment. His black combat suit made him nearly invisible in the dark space. His face was covered with adaptive camouflage that shifted colors to match his surroundings. Behind him, 3 other human soldiers waited in perfect silence. They had boarded the massive alien ship using an old Earth technique called parasitic docking. They attached their small craft to the supply ship's hull, cut through the armor with plasma torches, and crawled inside like insects. The hegemony would never expect such a primitive approach. Their sensors looked for other ships, not people cutting holes in their walls. "Target acquired," whispered Sergeant Park through their communicator. She was positioned near the ship's main computer core, ready to upload the virus. "Engineering. Charges set," reported Corporal Hassan from the engine room. 1 minute to overload." Morrison checked his chronometer. Everything was on schedule. In 12 minutes, this supply convoy would simply disappear. No distress signals, no survivors. Just another mystery for the hegemony to worry about. This was the 15th hegemony ship to vanish in the past month. Each time, the aliens found nothing but empty space where their vessels should have been. No wreckage, no escape pods, no clues. "Execute," Morrison whispered. Park uploaded the virus into the alien computer system. It was a special program designed by Earth's best hackers. It would slowly corrupt all the ship's records while copying useful information back to human intelligence. Hassan triggered the engineering charges. Deep in the ship's engine room, carefully placed explosives began. A chain reaction that would destroy the ship's power core in exactly 60 seconds. The team moved quickly through the ship's corridors. They had studied the layout for weeks, memorizing every passage and exit. As they moved, they planted small devices that would jam communications and create false sensor readings. 30 seconds to extraction, Morrison announced. They reached their hidden entry point just as alarms began blaring throughout the ship. But it was too late. The power core overloaded, and the massive supply vessel simply vanished in a flash of light. The team's small ship detached from the debris and slipped away into the asteroid field. Within an hour, they were gone, leaving no trace they had ever been there. 3 sectors away, Admiral Chun watched the reports coming in from across hegemony space. Supply convoys disappearing, communication networks suffering mysterious failures, garrison forces reporting strange incidents that made no sense. "This is impossible." General Thekmer's voice came through the captured alien transmission. Chun's intelligence teams had broken the hegemony's encryption weeks ago. Ships do not simply vanish. There must be human fleets nearby. But there were no human fleets. Chun had recalled every major warship to Earth, just as she had announced. The hegemony's own sensors confirmed it. So how were humans striking deep inside their territory? "Sir," reported Commander Wright, entering Chun's underground command center. "Phase 3 is complete. All 23 hegemony supply depots in the outer rim have been compromised. Their fuel reserves are contaminated, their ammunition stockpiles have been sabotaged, and their communication relays are transmitting false information." Chun nodded. "Casualties? Minimal on our side. 2 teams encountered unexpected resistance, but they extracted successfully. Enemy casualties are substantial." Chun studied the tactical display. Red dots marked successful operations across a region of space larger than most solar systems. Each dot represented a team of fewer than 10 humans, armed with nothing but portable weapons and centuries of accumulated knowledge about unconventional warfare. "The hegemony expects fleet battles," Sean said to her staff. "They're prepared for massive formations of warships meeting in open space. They have tactics for orbital bombardment and planetary invasion. But they have no idea how to fight an enemy they cannot see coming." The display shifted to show a hegemony fortress world. It was supposed to be impregnable, surrounded by defense stations and patrolling fleets. But even now, human infiltration teams were inside the planet's cities, preparing for the next phase. "Report from Zephyria Prime," announced Lieutenant Jackson. From the communications station, Operative Snake reports successful penetration of the military command center. She has access to their strategic planning database. Snake was the code name for Captain Lisa Chun, the Admiral's daughter. She had volunteered for the most dangerous assignment, infiltrating the hegemony's capital world disguised as a refugee from a destroyed human colony. It had taken her 3 months to work her way into the alien command structure, posing as a broken human begging for mercy. The aliens never suspected that their newest servant spoke perfect Zephyrian, had memorized their military protocols, and was slowly poisoning their entire strategic planning process with false information. "What's Snake's status?" Admiral Chan asked. Her voice remained professional, but her staff could see the tension in her shoulders. "She reports that hegemony leadership is becoming paranoid," Jackson replied. "They're pulling ships back from forward positions to guard their home systems. General Thigmer has ordered increased security sweeps, but they're looking for the wrong things." The wrong things indeed. The hegemony was searching for hidden fleets, secret weapons, and advanced technology. They could not understand how humans were appearing inside their most secure facilities, striking at their most protected assets, and vanishing without a trace. They did not know that human special forces had been trained in techniques developed during Earth's bloodiest conflicts: urban warfare, jungle fighting, desert operations, mountain warfare. Every environment where humans had learned to kill efficiently and disappear completely. "Phase 4 is ready to begin," Wright reported. "All teams are in position." Chun looked at the holographic display showing hegemony space. Thousands of red dots marked human operatives, infiltration teams, and sleeper agents positioned throughout the alien empire. They had been moving into position for months, using captured ships, stolen identities, and pure audacity. "Begin Phase 4, Sean ordered. Across hegemony space, a new kind of nightmare began. Commanding officers woke up with knives at their throats, forced to issue orders that would benefit humanity. Critical military installations suffered simultaneous accidents that disabled their defenses. Propaganda broadcasts were hijacked to show footage of human special forces in action, ghostly figures in advanced armor, moving through alien cities like death itself. The psychological impact was devastating. Hegemony soldiers began reporting sightings of Earth ghosts, mysterious figures that appeared and disappeared without warning. Security cameras captured brief glimpses of armored shapes that seemed to melt into shadows. Guard posts were found empty, their occupants vanished, without any sign of struggle. "The enemy is using psychological warfare," reported War Master Grix in an intercepted transmission. "Our troops are becoming unreliable. They jump at shadows. They report impossible sightings. Morale is collapsing." Admiral Chun smiled as she listened to the alien reports. Fear was spreading through the hegemony ranks like a plague. These proud warrior races who had conquered galaxies through superior technology and overwhelming force were learning what it felt like to be hunted. "Ma'am," Wright said quietly. Incoming transmission from Captain Santos. Maria Santos appeared on the screen, transmitted from a hidden base on New Geneva Colony. She looked tired but determined. Behind her, other survivors from Kepler Station worked at computer terminals, coordinating resistance activities. "Admiral, the veteran underground sends their thanks," Santos reported. "The weapons and supplies we provided have allowed them to begin striking back at their occupiers. They're proving quite effective at sabotage and intelligence gathering." Chan nodded. The surviving veterans had been eager to learn human tactics. Their natural intelligence and forearm dexterity made them excellent at the delicate work of sabotage and infiltration. "Any word from the other species?" Sean asked. "Several governments are quietly reaching out through back channels," Santos replied. "They're reconsidering their positions. It seems the hegemony's guarantee of protection doesn't look as solid as it did a month ago." That was exactly what Chun had hoped for. The galaxy was watching as the mighty hegemony stumbled and bled from 1,000 invisible wounds. Species that had bowed to alien pressure we're beginning to wonder if humanity might actually win this war. Continue operations, Sean ordered. And Maria? Good work, all of you. The transmission ended, and Sean turned back to the tactical display. The red dots representing human operations were spreading like an infection through hegemony space. Each successful mission weakened alien resolve and strengthened human position. Admiral, Wright asked quietly, do you think they're beginning to understand what they've awakened? Chun watched the display as more reports came in. Supply depots destroyed. Command centers infiltrated. Garrison forces demoralized. The proud alien empire was being dismantled piece by an enemy they could barely comprehend. Not yet, she replied. But they will. And when they finally understand what humans are really capable of, they're going to wish they had never heard of Earth. High Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire had not slept well in weeks. She stood in her private quarters aboard the flagship Cosmic Dominion, staring out at the stars through reinforced windows. Somewhere out there, in the darkness between worlds, humans were hunting her people. Another supply convoy failed to report in, her aide announced from the doorway. Lieutenant Kexvar looked as tired as she felt. That makes 7 this week. Veltar did not turn around. Send additional escorts. We already tripled the escort size, Commander. The humans destroyed a convoy protected by 12 heavy cruisers. They left no survivors, no witnesses, no evidence of how they did it. Veltar closed her eyes. The hegemony had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years through superior firepower and advanced technology. They had crushed rebellion after rebellion with overwhelming force. But this was different. This was not a rebellion. It was a haunting. Have our analysts determined how the humans are striking so deep into our territory? She asked, double quotes. They it. They have theories, Kexvar replied reluctantly. Some believe the humans have developed new stealth technology. Others think they are using captured ships to infiltrate our convoys. But honestly, Commander, none of the theories explain what we are seeing. What they were seeing defied all logic. Human forces appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating precision, and vanished completely. They spoke perfect hegemony languages. They knew alien military protocols better than some alien officers. They moved through secure facilities like they belonged there. Show me the latest intelligence reports, Veltar ordered. Kexvar activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air, security footage from dozens of incidents across hegemony space. The quality was poor, the images brief, but they all showed the same thing. Humans in black armor, moving like shadows through alien installations. This footage is from the attack on Kepler military base, Kexvar explained. Watch carefully. The hologram showed a corridor inside the base. Everything appeared normal. Then, suddenly, a guard collapsed. No sound, no visible weapon, no attacker. Just a soldier falling unconscious for no apparent reason. Seconds later, a shape moved across the corridor. It was barely visible, like heat distortion in the air. If not for the timestamp showing the recording was slowed down 50 times, it would have been impossible to see. How are they doing this? Veltar whispered. We do not know, Kexvar admitted. Our scientists say the humans are using some kind of advanced camouflage technology. But our best equipment cannot detect them even when we know they are there. The display changed to show another incident. This time, the security cameras in a communications center went black one by one. When they came back online, all the equipment was destroyed and the alien operators were gone. Not dead, gone, simply vanished. 23 personnel missing from that facility alone, Kexvar reported. We found no bodies, no blood, no sign of struggle. They just disappeared. Veltar turned away from the display. She had seen enough. What does General Thekmer say about these incidents? The general believes the humans are using captured personnel to infiltrate our facilities. He has ordered increased security screenings and identity verification for all personnel. And yesterday, security forces arrested Commander Nextal of the Fifth Fleet for possible human infiltration. He has served the hegemony for 40 years. His own staff reported him because he seemed different after returning from patrol. Veltar felt a chill run through her body. Different how? He knew things he should not have known. Details about human tactics that were classified. He spoke about Earth military history as if he had studied it personally. When questioned, he could not explain where he learned this information. The implications were terrifying. Were the humans somehow converting alien officers? Brainwashing them? Or had they infiltrated so deeply that they could impersonate anyone? Commander, Kexvar said quietly, there is something else. The psychological warfare reports. Veltar sat down heavily in her chair. She had been dreading this part of the briefing. Show me. The holographic display changed to show intercepted human broadcasts. These were being transmitted across hegemony. Space on stolen communication networks. The images were designed to terrorize alien forces. The first broadcast showed human soldiers moving through a Saurian military base. The footage was shot from their perspective, like predators stalking prey. Alien guards were shown falling unconscious, one by one, taken down by invisible attackers. The humans moved through the facility like it was their own home. Turn it off, Veltar ordered, but Kexvar was already switching to the next broadcast. One showed the aftermath of a human raid on a crystalline collective mining station. Bodies of alien workers lay scattered throughout the facility. But what made the footage truly horrifying was the message spray-painted on the walls in perfect, crystalline script. Remember Kepler Station. They are learning our languages, Kexvar reported, speaking them perfectly, writing them fluently. They understand our military procedures, our security protocols, our cultural weaknesses. It is as if they have been studying us for years. How is that possible? First contact was only 50 years ago. Intelligence believes they captured extensive databases during their raids. But Commander, some of these broadcasts show knowledge that should be impossible for them to have. They know the personal fears of specific alien officers. They reference classified military operations from decades before humans even left their homeworld. Veltar rubbed her temples. Her species had evolved from nocturnal hunters, and their hearing was extremely sensitive. For weeks now, she had been hearing sounds that were not there. Footsteps in empty corridors. Whispers in languages she did not recognize. Other officers reported similar experiences. The humans are inside our heads, she said quietly. Commander, they are not just fighting our armies. They are fighting our minds, making us doubt everything, question everyone. They want us to be afraid of our own shadows, and it was working. Across hegemony space, military efficiency was collapsing. Officers spent hours checking and rechecking security systems. Soldiers reported suspicious activity that turned out to be nothing. Entire bases went on high alert because someone heard a strange noise. There is more, Kexvar said reluctantly. The misinformation campaigns. The display showed examples of false intelligence that had been fed to hegemony forces. Fake orders that sent fleets to empty systems. Forged communications that turned allied species against each other. Propaganda that made hegemony victories look like defeats, and defeats look like massacres. They are rewriting reality, Veltar observed, making us question what is real and what is not. The most disturbing part was how sophisticated the deception was. The humans had not just learned alien languages, they had mastered them. They understood cultural nuances, military hierarchies, and political relationships well enough to create convincing false information. How many of our recent intelligence reports might be false? Veltar asked. Unknown, Kexmar admitted. Possibly all of them. Veltar stood and walked to her private communication terminal. She opened a secure channel to General Thegmer's flagship. When the general's image appeared, she could see that he looked as exhausted as she felt. Report, Thegmer ordered. Sir, I recommend immediate withdrawal from all forward positions. Our forces are compromised. Our intelligence is unreliable. The humans have turned our own strengths against us. Thegmer's eyes glowed red with anger. We do not retreat from primitive mammals. With respect, General, these are not the primitive mammals we studied. These humans fight like nothing we have ever encountered. They do not follow any civilized rules of warfare. They strike without warning, show no mercy, and use psychological tactics that are breaking our forces. They are just using stealth technology and guerrilla tactics. We will adapt. Veltar leaned forward. Sir, they are not just using guerrilla tactics. They invented them. This is how their species learned to fight. While we were developing honor codes and civilized warfare, they were perfecting the art, killing efficiently and disappearing completely. Your point? My point is that we are fighting a species that spent thousands of years learning to hunt and kill in environments where failure meant extinction. They are not trying to defeat us in honorable combat. They are trying to make us extinct. The communication ended abruptly. Thegmer had cut the connection. Veltar stared at the blank screen, knowing that her words had fallen on deaf ears. Commander, Kexvar said softly, incoming reports from the home fleet. Veltar turned. What now? 3 ships reported human infiltrators aboard their vessels. Security teams found evidence of sabotage in multiple locations. But when they tried to locate the infiltrators, ... double quotes, Kexvar paused. What? The humans were gone. Simply gone, as if they had never been there at all. Veltar looked out at the stars again. Somewhere in that darkness, human teams were moving toward their next targets, planning their next strikes, learning more about their enemies with each successful mission. A hegemony had started this, or believing they were fighting an inferior species. Now they were learning the truth. They were not fighting humans. They were being hunted by them. And somewhere in the depths of space, Admiral Chun was watching their fear grow stronger every day. General Thegmer stood before the assembled War Council one last time. The great chamber on Hegemony Prime was barely half full now. Many species had withdrawn their representatives after months of mysterious defeats and unexplained losses. Those who remained looked tired and frightened. The human homeworld must be destroyed, Thegmer declared. His voice echoed in the nearly empty chamber. We will gather every available ship and strike at Earth itself. When their world burns, this nightmare will end. High Commander Veltar shifted uncomfortably in her seat. General, perhaps we should consider negotiations. The humans have proven they are more dangerous than we initially believed. Negotiations? Thegmer's eyes blazed red. They have made us look like fools across the galaxy. Half our species' allies have abandoned us. Our supply lines are in shambles. Our soldiers are afraid of shadows. There will be no negotiations. War Master Grix of the Saurian clans nodded slowly. The general is right. We cannot appear weak. If we show fear now, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. Admiral Kethvar of the Crystalline Collective remained silent. His people had lost 3 entire fleets to human attacks, and he was no longer sure that overwhelming force would solve this problem. We will assemble here at the edge of the Sol system, Thegmer continued, gesturing to the holographic display. 2,000 ships from across the hegemony. Every weapon, every soldier, every resource we can. Gather. We will turn Earth into ash and scatter the remains across space. What Thakmer did not know was that human intelligence was listening to every word. Captain Lisa Chun, still operating under the code-named Snake, sat in the chamber disguised as a Zephyrian communications officer. She had been documenting hegemony plans for months, feeding information back to Earth through carefully hidden channels. As the War Council discussed their final assault, Snake activated a tiny device hidden in her uniform. The signal it sent would travel faster than light, reaching Earth hours before the hegemony fleet could even begin to move. 3 days later, Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the Seoul Defense Command Center, deep beneath the lunar surface. The chamber was filled with tactical displays showing the entire solar system. Her staff moved between stations, coordinating the defense of humanity's homeworld. "Final count on the hegemony fleet?" Sean asked. 2,047 ships, reported Commander Wright. Everything from heavy cruisers to massive dreadnoughts. It is the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Chun nodded. She had expected this. When an enemy could not understand how they were losing, they usually responded with overwhelming force. It was a predictable military reaction. And our forces? As ordered now. Every visible human ship has been recalled to Earth. We have 300 vessels ready for the defense. On paper, we are completely outmatched, Chun smiled. On paper, yes. But the hegemony is still thinking in terms of traditional fleet combat. They expect us to meet them in open space, with our warships arranged in battle formation. We are not going to do that? Commander, have you ever heard of the Battle of Stalingrad? Wright looked confused. I do not think so, ma'am. Ancient Earth battle. A powerful army tried to capture a city by overwhelming force. The defenders turned the entire urban area into a weapon. Every building became a fortress. Every street became a killing ground. The attackers had superior numbers and better equipment, but they were fighting on the defenders' terms. Chun gestured to the tactical display, showing the Sol system. This is our city, Commander, and we have had months to prepare. As she spoke, the display changed to show the real defensive positions. What looked like empty space was actually filled with hidden assets. Automated weapons platforms disguised as asteroids. Missile pods concealed inside comet fragments. Stealth. Ships lurking in the shadows of planets and moons. The hegemony expects to find our fleet waiting near Earth, Chun explained. Instead, they are going to find a trap that spans the entire solar system. 2 days later, the hegemony armada entered the outer edge of the Sol system. General Thakmer stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the sensor displays with satisfaction. The human fleet was exactly where he expected it to be. A small formation of ships defending their homeworld. Begin the attack, he ordered. All ships advance in formation. Destroy any human vessel that resists. The massive alien fleet moved forward like a tidal wave of metal and energy. 2,000 ships advancing in perfect order, their weapons charging for the final battle. That was when the first surprise hit them. What they thought was an asteroid suddenly opened fire. Missiles and energy beams lanced out from the hidden weapons platform, striking the lead hegemony ships. Before the aliens could react, more asteroids began shooting. Then more. What is happening? Thakmer demanded. Sir, we are taking fire from multiple positions. The asteroids ... They are not asteroids. They are disguised weapons platforms. Thakmer watched in growing horror as his perfectly ordered fleet was torn apart by enemies that should not exist. His sensors had shown empty space, but that empty space was killing his ships. All vessels return fire on those positions, he ordered. The hegemony fleet began destroying the hidden platforms. But for every one they eliminated, 2 more revealed themselves. The humans had turned the entire outer system into a maze of hidden weapons and carefully placed traps. Sir, we are detecting movement in the asteroid belt, reported his tactical officer. Multiple contacts, but they do not match any known ship configurations. On the display, shapes began emerging from the asteroid field. They looked like rocks and ice chunks, but they moved with purpose and fired weapons with deadly accuracy. The humans had built a fleet of ships that looked like space debris. This is impossible, Thakmer muttered. How could they hide an entire fleet? The answer was simple. The humans had learned to become invisible, not through advanced technology, but through cunning and deception. They had made their ships look like the natural objects found in any solar system. Asteroids, comets, debris fields, all hiding weapons and warriors. As the battle continued, more surprises revealed themselves. What looked like a disabled human. Cargo ship suddenly came alive, its hull opening to release dozens of fighter craft. A moon orbiting Jupiter turned out to be a massive weapons platform covered in artificial craters. Even the space station near Mars was not what it seemed. It was a heavily armed fortress disguised as a research facility. Sir, we have lost contact with the 3rd and 7th battle groups, his communications officer reported. Fear was clear in the alien's voice. They entered what appeared to be an empty region of space and simply disappeared. Thakmer realized with growing dread that the humans had not just hidden weapons in their solar system. They had turned the entire system into a weapon. Every planet, moon, asteroid, and piece of debris was either armed or hiding something that was armed. How many ships have we lost? He asked. Over 400, sir, and the count is rising. 400 ships. 1/5 of the greatest fleet ever assembled, destroyed by an enemy that refused to fight fairly. The humans were not meeting them in honorable combat. They were picking them apart piece by piece, using the environment itself as a weapon. Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet. Admiral Chun appeared on the main screen. She looked calm and professional, as if she were discussing routine military exercises instead of the destruction of an invasion force. General Thakmer, she said, I am Admiral Sarah Chun of the Earth Defense Forces. You have one opportunity to withdraw your remaining ships from this system. If you refuse, we will continue to demonstrate why attacking humanity was a mistake. Thakmer, as anger flared. You fight without honor. You hide like cowards instead of facing us in battle. Chun's expression did not change. You murdered civilians at Kepler Station. You executed researchers and scientists in cold blood. You declared war on anyone who would associate with us. You forfeited the right to honorable combat when you chose. To become butchers, we have you outnumbered 4-1. You cannot defeat us all. General, in the past month, my forces have destroyed over 600 of your ships, using fewer than 50 human vessels. We have sabotaged your supply lines, infiltrated your command structure, and turned your own tactics against you. Your numerical advantage means nothing when you do not know what you are fighting. Thakmer cut the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. Status report. Sir, we have now lost over 600 ships. Our formation is broken. Multiple battle groups are reporting that they are lost in what they describe as impossible terrain. Impossible terrain? Regions of space that appear normal on sensors, but contain hidden obstacles and weapons. The humans have somehow weaponized the environment itself. Thakmer stared at the tactical display. His magnificent fleet was being carved apart by an enemy he could not see coming. The humans fought like the space itself was alive and hunting his forces. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, incoming messages from multiple ship commanders. They are requesting permission to withdraw. For the first time in his military career, General Thakmer felt true fear. Not fear of death in battle, but fear of an enemy that could not be understood or predicted. The humans did not fight like any species he had ever